Hello and good evening to you all. I just thought I'd come on air this evening and talk a little bit about healing, in particular to do with the healing gift that God has bestowed upon most of us within churches, and also those that are without faith or without attending any of the churches that we know about in the world. It came to my attention about healing when I was about 7 years of age, when my dad, who had been very, very ill, had received healing from a place in Blackpool called the World Healing Crusade in Lytham Road in Blackpool. Anyway, it took place and Dad recovered sufficiently to be able to live a life as normal as it possibly could. Over the years, the healing gift and the healing idea stayed with me until I was about 18. When I had a bit of a crisis of faith. I didn't really want to get involved in church life at all, but with the healing side particularly being strong in the family, I'd always had a little bit of an interest in it. So it ended up really with me going into it in a way because of my dad's situation. Later on in life I became a Christian spiritualist in the church, and recently I underwent some healing myself when I was seriously ill with double pneumonia in May. Anyway, the whole thing being that whatever we have in time or whatever we share in the healing work is so important that we do this with each other, because healing is a gift. It's not something you can learn in a way that is you'd learn how to ride a bike or drive a car or something like that. It's something that is within us all, but we have to understand the purpose of it and the practicality of actually serving God in a healing way. So in some ways perhaps that came about because of the situation that I was faced with my father, and also later on in my own ministry. Over the years I spent in various churches, from the Methodist to the Pentecostal to the charismatic churches. Some of my young friends who don't understand really what that's all about, but Pentecostal churches are very much in vogue at the time that I discovered the healing ministry that God had called me to, but I was refused the ability or the strengthening to be able to do this. So I ended up really being in a bit of a wilderness for a while till I was about 50, and then out of the blue something happened and I ended up being involved in it, in the ministry of healing. Over the years I have developed a gift, not just with healing but also with mediumship, and I'm now speaking most spiritualist churches within the Bradford area, which is in West Yorkshire in England. So in that respect perhaps God had called me to that particular service. So it was important that I understood what I was dealing with. Over the years, healing has taken place in my own area and also within my own home, where I've had people coming for healing over the years. But over recent years, I don't do that. I don't do much of that anymore. In fact, I don't do any work at home in that area at all anymore. But what I do is I actually have the ability to be able to send healing through thought and through prayer. And we have very fortunate in where I live that we have a lovely Catholic church nearby where you can go and light candles if you need to pray for somebody in a targeted way, which is lovely. And we can go in there on a Saturday afternoon and actually put healing and candles for people for healing. So it's important that that we can do this, because everything we do is an act of faith. Anything we do is something where we go into a situation and know we're dealing with people's problems in a day-to-day way. Not necessarily physical healing, but a lot of it can be emotional healing too. And so we can bring that perspective of healing into their daily walk, daily lives. So it's important that we recognise what we can actually achieve in the healing work, and also it is open to everyone. It isn't a specialised field. It isn't something where you go into healing like you would, as I say, taking a driving test or something like that. It's something that is within us all, and it's something that we can find within ourselves. Because if you have compassion for someone and you care about someone's needs, then obviously you're going to be able to share that energy with that person who has a need, who has a problem. So it's necessary really now that we actually deal with it and actually come along with it and serve others with that healing gift. There are other types of healing too. I believe there's healing and reconciliation, particularly in our modern age. We have a lot of problems in this nation, in England, and possibly in other parts of the world too. We have people here who haven't got enough to eat. We have food banks here. Again, that's a shared ministry with quite a few of the churches here, where people are actually having food banks where they actually can get food twice a week sometimes, and a meal sometimes on a Friday. But these are difficulties and problems, and in spiritualism we talk very much about personal responsibility. We also talk very much about the brotherhood of man and the fatherhood of God, and we have personal responsibility one with another. That's a form of healing too, because we have to be able to bring something of the ability to be able to understand and bring that compassion to others around us, because healing is not necessarily just the laying on of hands or actually distance healing. It can be different ways. It can be with the food banks. It can be putting food into a shopping trolley because someone has a desperate need. And week by week, as since sort of turn of the year, I've seen so many people putting items of food into these baskets within the various supermarkets here in the UK. We've got Asda, which in America is called Walmart, and we have Sainsbury's, which is one of the sort of minor supermarkets here. And people have been doing this for months, principally because they care about one another, and that is a form of healing too. So I want to leave you with these thoughts, that perhaps if you are in a situation where you need healing yourself, maybe you should get in touch and seek healing for others too in your own way. Because it's a blessing to bring healing to others. It's also a responsibility that we share as human beings on this planet we share. One of the things I found in hospital when I was very, very ill was the ability to call upon what I call the ministers of light. And these were three orbs. Now, to some of our Christian brethren, they'll not understand this, but I'm trying to explain it the best way I can. There were three orbs spinning in the air. And it was the middle of the night. I was feeling quite ill. I didn't know whether I was going to make it for 3 days. And suddenly the words came into my mind, Holy Ministers of Light, hidden from our mortal sight. And it's a hymn that we sing in the Spiritualist Church, which it really went home to me, Holy Ministers of Light. And to see these three orbs spinning in the air gave me that understanding of what the healing ministry is. There were three orbs, three separate beings bringing healing to me. And also there were prayers from other churches too. But those three orbs have stayed with me ever since. So for us in spiritualism, it's important that we understand that too. We understand the Christian aspect as well, because there are many people who believe in the Christ healing as well as those who believe in the spiritual healing. And so we can bring a blessing to all those around us. But remembering the three orbs, the three spinning energies that brought healing to me, enables me therefore to pass on healing to others. And through this broadcast, I hopefully will reach more people with the words that I've spoken this evening. Thank you, and God bless you all.